update today's Raodtrek happenings. So Ray came over. I saw him coming over, knocking on my door. I was out walking the dogs, so I rushed back and see what's up today. And he said in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, we're leaving if you want to come. They were driving up to a place that's like, I don't know, 10, 15 miles away, to the highest point where you could see the whole area. So that was happening this morning. I decided to opt out of it. I said, I want to stay here. I want to make my breakfast and stuff, and I'm doing my YouTube stuff, so I'm going to beg off of that. I wasn't so interested in driving up to see the highest point. So anyway, I saw them leave a little while ago, all the Raodtreks going out. It was kind of fun. But then the other thing that's happening, he said at 6 p.m., all going to meet up over there and go down to the beach. So there is a little beach area over here. Bring your flute and stuff. And I said, well, we'll see how cold it is, because in the cold, the wood is temperamental. It doesn't like the cold and the wet, okay? Cold, wet, and wind, the flute is not liking it, okay? So we'll see what happens, how cold it is, etc., and see what they're going to do down at the beach. I use the term beach loosely because really every time I look out there, the water is really, now I don't know if I've just been looking at low tide, or it's just that it's, that things are evaporating because it was basically looking at kind of like mud flats, with green. So, green mud flats out there. So we'll see. I'll go over there and see how cold it is and everything. At 6 p.m. They decided to do it a little earlier. It's not a whole lot earlier. Why they don't do this in the middle of the day when it's, nice and warm out here, I don't know. But it is what it is. They do things late in the evening and then had that drive up here this morning, so. Anyway, yeah, I stayed back and had some corned beef, hash, and eggs. So, yeah. That was good. And of course, whatever I'm eating, these two are waiting for theirs, And so I always leave a little bite for each of them for what I'm having, whether I'm having the beef or chicken or whatever I'm having. They get a little treasure, they get a little piece, one or two bites, and they sit there and wait patiently for me to finish eating so they can have their treat. So that's what's going on here today. I'm just sitting here enjoying the fireplace. And have the back doors open. It's warm enough now to have the back doors open. And of course, Mr. Max has assumed the position. Yes, I said Mr. Max. Yes, I did. So that's his spot. Let me move this so you can get up there further. Okay. Move that pillow so he can sit up further up in there. Yeah, happy guy. So anyway, that's what's going on here. It's going to be kind of, quiet, and that's fine. Like I said, there are no accidents, and I'm quite fine being over here by my lonesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm not a big person for crowds, and big public gatherings and, you know, people like the guy that was endless talking. I'm not interested in that. And in fact, when realization takes place, aka enlightenment realization, whatever you want to call it, when you come to, when you're back in the world of phenomena, you just don't even want to talk for quite some time. It's like a lot of people want to talk about the weather, this and that, and you just not interested in doing any of that. So, yeah, for quite a while, you just want to be in that quietude. And right after, it takes a good, for me, it took a good 10 years to really have things settle. And because at first, you could just sit all day and look at a leaf blow, or look at the sunlight on a leaf and just feel that in the heart center, just overwhelming, and just bliss, overwhelming bliss. And everything at that point, it's like colors are more vibrant, everything is just expansion, okay? So it took a good 10 years to really settle. And at first, when coming out of it, the speeches has altered, because you can't say I. You don't want to say I, because there is so much of that expansion into everything that I is, it's just not even in the vocabulary. For 10 years, I would say this one, because, and it's not that you're trying to sound elevated, or it's nothing like that. It's just saying I is doesn't have a reference any longer. It feels fake. Okay, it feels fake to say that. So one has to relearn language from a personal, from like a personal identification. You have to relearn that language of duality. So those are some of the unusual things that take place. You just are happy to be in the quietude. And at first, we thought everybody wanted to get to realization, but then I found out very rapidly, no, they just want to have a little bit more of control of their lives and stuff, that the things that one lets go of along the way, on that path. Most people have no intention, even though they say they want enlightenment, they want realization, really in the end, no, they don't. So after a few years of having my Yahoo groups, which I had Yahoo groups, they've phased those out now, and that's why stuff from the Yahoo group, the non-dual, more of the non-dual thing, is in a book on Amazon you can get now. But yeah, during that time, you want to, give this, you want to give this to people, but it's not something that can be taught, and that's the other thing. You see so many of these satsang sellers that talk, and then you get the Advaita police. I call them the Advaita police. That if you say something in a wrong way, they come down. Now all they've done is read about realization. They have no idea what it's actually like to live within that reality. And they just get crazy. Like, I've just been watching this one. These guys are arguing about non-duality. And neither of them have come close to tasting anything even close to it. Yet they're sitting there arguing from their intellectual what they've read. Which I find a bit, in a way, humorous, you know. That you get these guys that think they're so intellectual and they've got it because they've read something so they can argue about it. Well, no, there's a difference between having read about something and actually living it. Okay? So, yeah. So what happens, like I said, when everything blows out at first, it's like everything is beautiful. You could look at a pile of dog crap and it would be beautiful. Okay? You know? That's the reality of it. And like I said, it took a good 10 years to really settle. But what happens, you know, it's like the saying, before enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water, and after, you chop wood and carry water. Well, there's a difference in that, though. You know, when you're doing the chopping wood and carrying water before enlightenment, it's drudgery, it's difficult, you're grousing about it, you know. Afterwards, you know, it's life, okay? You appreciate it for what it is. It's another experience at hand. It's something to experience, something to relish in, to go with, okay? So there's a huge difference in perspective that takes place. And there was something else I was going to say with that popped in and now it went out. That's another thing. You have no more awareness of time elements. You're so fully in the moment that trying to go back and piece things together is difficult because, you know, that really is... once it's gone, it's gone. You know, pretty much as if it hasn't happened. You can go away and come back, and it's like, wasn't I going to go somewhere? So it's the consciousness goes through a radical shift, and yeah. One doesn't need to play the games anymore. If you see somebody walking around and they have to wear your robes or, you know, your sannyas clothes or robes or this and that, why? Okay. So with realization, you find out there's so much more than you thought and so much less. Instead of being the personality of one becomes the zero. Become the big nothing. And it's great, you know. So yeah, there's a huge shift in perspective and the way that one interacts with the world. Okay. And you know, when realization happens too, it's like hitting a brick wall. If you have gone for lifetimes towards this goal and you get there, then all of a sudden it's like, now what? It's like all of a sudden I'm out of a job. Okay, it's like everything that meant something, you know, trying to go forward is now done. So at first it's a huge shock. And really, at that point, and it doesn't last long, but, you know, there is that recognition of lifetimes of striving that one has, been the focus for lifetimes, and then all of a sudden that's finished. It's kind of like, I can imagine for somebody that's been the big CEO of a company or something, and then all of a sudden they're out of a job, when their lifetime's been dedicated to running this, thing, and now all of a sudden, I can imagine it would be something like that. So it's a very odd thing. But again, then one goes through the next process of, just the beauty of life. That's why after realization, it's called the play of God. Okay? First you're struggling and you're going through the difficulty, then realization takes place and you've entered the play. There's nothing to take really seriously any longer with that. You don't have the mind spin. Everything is quieted. There's no running thoughts. You enter into direct consciousness rather than this thinking process. One can see the whole of the thing and then break it down into parts. So it's a different process, a different way of being that happens. Doesn't mean the emotions are surface, okay? And in the depths, it's still. Doesn't mean that there are no emotions. Yeah, the emotions, but they're very surface level. It's like a pond, a still pond, and you throw a pebble in and you get those ripples for a few seconds and then it's gone. But underneath of it, there are no ripples. It's just the surface. That's what it's like. It's like that. Doesn't mean that, again, you can't show emotion. You do. And the emotions are more like pure emotions because it's not being driven by some sort of a drama behind the things. But, yeah, that's kind of what it's like. Now, how it got off on this thing today, I don't know, but it did, so it is what it is. Maybe someone will have some interest in it, and maybe not, and it's all good, no matter what it is. But, yeah. And, that's why people ask if I have fear or any of that. No. Not at all. It's living the life and seeing the beauty of it, no matter what it is that one is going through. And knowing that it's transient. Everything in this dualistic world is transient. And that which is beyond the dualistic world, that seed of life, is eternal and unchanging and pristine and pure as it is. And none of the happenings that are going on here in the transient realm can change that, can darken it in any way, shape, or form. So it's a totally different knowledge, understanding that takes place. And one comes out in the settled beingness, and just enjoying it. And you don't have to do the games any longer of, if you are, a spiritual thing and you're doing this path, you have to look a certain way and, but that's what people are judging on. They're judging on the externals, I would get a lot of flack from that because I wear lipstick and I dress in modern ways and I'm not wearing robes. I'm not, but for why? Does it change the knowledge? Does it change? It doesn't change any of that. If you have to wear the robes, you have to do those things, then you're, again, putting on some sort of a mask. And yeah, people will, they gravitate to that mask. But really, what's under it? Okay, what's under that mask? Is it genuine knowledge, genuine wisdom, genuine experience? Or is it, still in the process and, again, having to spin things in a certain way in order to be accepted, in what one is doing? Okay? So, yeah. Realization is not something that can be taught. It's not something that can be learned. It has to be coming out of one's life experience, which takes coming to vairagya. Vairagya means that settledness and not clinging to something, not being, not holding to anything. Okay, not holding. Isn't that right, Missy May? Nah. She says, I don't know. I'm just living the life of a dog and doing what I'm doing. Yeah, May. So on that note, I'm going to leave this here, get rid of my plate, and see what's online, see what else needs to be read on today. Yeah, and try to keep these two munchkins from going all Cujo every time they see another dog out there. Have a great day.